Hi everyone, today I just want to talk about the nervous system and our fight or flight responses and the vagus nerve. And so this is going to be more conversational. I don't know everything there is to know about this topic, um, but I just want to share some personal experience and just some of my personal insights on this. So first and foremost, let's just start with the vagus nerve. It starts in our brain and it goes down to our spinal cord and it touches on the pharynx, the larynx, the heart, the lungs, the spleen, liver. I'm using a chart, by the way. The spleen, small intestines, large intestines, essentially your stomach. So, vagus nerve is responsible for your digestion, your heart rate, your blood pressure, your immune system responses, your mood, mucus, saliva production, skin, muscle sensations, speech, taste, and also urine output. So, essentially, my experience with learning about the vagus nerve and nervous system for me has more to do with mood. I would say most athletes are probably very aware of this kind of stuff, or dancers, people who work with their body. So, um, for me, just from an acting perspective, I've learned about it essentially in terms of mood and just grounding techniques before I go on stage or before I film something, or just in personal life. Uh, and so everyone's fight or flight response is different and it's triggered by different things. So I think it would be good for you, whoever's watching, to maybe do a little journal exercise and figure out when you feel dysregulated. I think for many people it happens in different environments. So it could happen more so in a work setting or in a family setting or going out by yourself, being in public, um, or yeah, just different settings. For me, it's mainly happened in terms of like relationships, like friends and family, and just I don't know. Again, I know my own. They're probably different for you, but essentially, my main takeaway is just that if you're always in a survival mode or fight or flight, which could be because of your home environment or your work environment, etc., you know, you're gonna get sick more. You're gonna not have the best mood. You're probably even gonna have trouble speaking up for yourself or what your what your thoughts and ideas are on the situation. So I would say for sure this probably happens like with public speaking for a lot of people, because that's like, I heard that public speaking is like the second biggest fear other than dying to people. So that's kind of extreme. Um, but essentially, another takeaway is just that it affects taste. It plays a minor role in it. Pardon me. Confirmation cough. But because I know your facial nerves and obviously your tongue and stuff, we think of our tongue as being responsible for taste. But I would say if you're in fight or flight or whatever, it's going to be hard for you to take in anything sensorial, so taste, touch, etc. A lot of people experience. That's why when people are about to public speak, their fingers get tingly, their hands get tingly, or go a bit numb. So essentially, what really helps me is just breathing techniques, so like box breathing. So that's like, you can either do a 2 count, a 4 count, or an 8 count. I recommend just start with a 2 count. So just and just doing like five of those. It doesn't have to be super intense. You don't have to automatically start with 8. But there's essentially certain things that takes you out of survival mode. Um, and outside of your brain that you can just do with your body. So just breathing exercises, chewing gum. That's why a lot of public speakers, you might see them chewing gum before they go on stage, and then, you know, they spit it out before they go on because they don't want to be rude. Another thing that can happen, which I started doing this in the grocery store the other day because my nervous system was a little bit shot, if I'm being perfectly honest. It's just humming. So just that vibration takes all these things kind of, I don't want to say trick your mind into realizing that, you know, a deadly predator is not chasing you down. But, you know, I think those deadly predators are essentially just in our brain. You know, it's the stuff telling us we need to protect ourselves from potential threats even when there are none. And so, you know, if you have PTSD, or if you've had if you've experienced relational abuse, or just like toxic work environments, whatever it may be, which, like, we've all been there, you know, our body builds up these defenses to protect us. So it's really not something to be like, oh, like, I hate anxiety, I hate being in flight or flight. Like, no, you're supposed to have that because, you know, hopefully you never run into an actually life-threatening situation. But if you do, that's what takes over, helps you to fight, helps you to run away in a dangerous circumstance. It just has a lot of crossover into modern life. Basically, just work on it. You know, spend 5 or 10 minutes a day just working on it. I think within hustle culture and all this, like, oh, like, do this technique, manifestation, like all this stuff that is good. I don't think it's bad, but I think it can be intimidating, especially if you're just like starting out. And so what I recommend to friends is just, you know, you don't have to jump into like a yoga class and buy all this gear and like do an hour or 2 hours of it a day. Personally, I just do 5 to 10 minutes every morning, and it just sets me up for my day. Same with meditation, 5-10 minutes, you know, do what feels realistic for you. There's some days where I do like 20-minute, 30-minute sessions, and as good as those feel, I would say they're not any more or less rewarding than just doing 5 minutes. So yeah, I think just be aware of what your triggers are in terms of when you go into fight or flight. Sometimes there's obviously situations at work where you can't quite leave what you're doing, or you're engaged with someone, but just take the time, you know, slow it down a bit, you know, or sometimes there's nothing wrong with stepping away, you know, go to the bathroom, just do a couple of breathing exercises, you know, meditate before or after work, stuff like that. So anyway, that's just like a little touchstone on vagus nervous system stuff. Another trick that I use is literally taking a sip of something, a drink, because again, the chewing gum thing, it's telling your body that you're eating. And back in the caveman days, people would only eat when they felt safe, and most of the time we just kind of eat whenever. So, you know, literally just having a little hard candy or chewing a piece of gum, flavor is what also tells your nervous system that you're safe. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. I hope it felt casual. I hope this can kind of help you jump in. There's definitely more like analytical scientific videos out there, stuff having to do with diet and what you eat, because that'll also affect your nervous system if you're eating too much processed foods. Stuff like that. Gosh, I need to make some honey tea. Speaking of not processed foods, I need to get some honey in me, because it'll help my throat. Because I don't know why I'm coughing today, but I am. Probably has something to do with my vagus nerve and my nervous system. So yeah, hope that was helpful. Feel like there's other stuff I want to say, but there's not. So yeah, anyway, have a good one, guys. Thank you.